A rose each morning, a love letter to Princess Leonor. Spain begins its mornings with a rhythm everyone knows. The sound of church bells brushing the air, the soft hum of the city's waking, the first light touching ancient rooftops. Life moves the same, day after day. But today, something feels different. Something shifts. And it all starts with one unexpected truth. Spain has been writing a letter, quietly, patiently, for years. A letter with no envelope. A letter with no ink. A letter carried in the hearts of millions. And the person at the center of it never even knew it existed. Because that letter is for Princess Leonor. And the words inside it, the ones Spain has never dared to speak out loud, are not what the world expects. The letter isn't about power, or ceremony, or the throne waiting for her one day. It's something far more fragile, far more human, and far more surprising. It is Spain's confession of admiration, hope, and faith in the young woman who represents its future. And the moment this truth surfaces, everything changes. This is where our story begins, with the sunrise, with a nation watching, with a young woman stepping into her destiny, unaware that every step she takes is being carried like poetry on the shoulders of history itself. But how did this feeling begin? Why did Spain grow so attached, so proud, so protective of Leonor? And why does it feel, now more than ever, like the country is offering her a rose each morning, as if whispering something only she can understand? To answer that, we must travel back. Back to the early chapters. Back to the girl who grew in the shadow of a crown she did not ask for, yet accepted with quiet courage. Back to a time when she didn't know the weight of the world would sit on her shoulders, or how beautifully she would carry it. Leonor's story has never been simple. Born into a whirlwind of protocol and pressure, she learned early that her life would never belong fully to her. Cameras would follow her. Historians would study her. Millions would judge her every decision. Yet, she moved forward with the elegance of someone far older than her years. Calm, thoughtful, careful, and yet, deeply human. Spain saw this, even when she didn't know they were watching. They noticed the way she smiled at veterans during parades. The way her voice trembled the first time she spoke publicly. The way she steadied herself. The way she grew from hesitation to confidence. Each moment became a thread, and over time, those threads wove a connection between the country and its future queen. But admiration alone does not explain the letter. There was something more emotional happening, a sense that Spain, wounded by years of challenges, scandals, and uncertainty, finally saw someone who represented hope. Someone pure, someone steady, someone who reminded them of who they once were, and who they could be again. This is where the rose appears. No one knows when the tradition started, or who imagined it first, but the idea spread quietly online. Every morning, fans, citizens, and followers would post a simple image, a single rosé. Some red, some white, some gold. They said it was a digital gesture, a symbolic offering to Leonor. A way of saying, "We believe in you. We're with you. We watch you rise." She never responded. She never acknowledged it. She didn't have to. Because symbolic gestures aren't meant to be answered. They're meant to be carried. And she carried it. As Leonor grew, so did the rose. It appeared in fan art, murals, short films, poems, and school projects. A rose for bravery. A rose for responsibility. A rose for the weight she carries. A rose each morning, representing Spain's quiet, emotional bond with her. But this year, the tradition changed. This year, the rose gained a new meaning. Because in 2025, Spain saw Leonor transform in real time. From a young woman into a leader. From a symbol into a force. From a princess into the person people could imagine holding the crown. And with that transformation came new tension. New pressure. New love. New fear. New questions. Would she be ready? Would she be allowed to grow freely? Would politics swallow her? Would duty steal her youth? Would Spain protect her, or depend too heavily on her? Each answer created a new curiosity loop, and every loop led back to one thought: Leonor is more than an heir. She is the heart of the next chapter of Spain. And a heart must be protected. That's when the rose became something deeper. Not a romantic gesture, not a symbol of courtship. A ritual of faith. Now, imagine this scene. Leonor wakes before sunrise, as she often does. She opens her curtains, and light spills into the room. Outside, Madrid is calm. The world hasn't yet started running. And somewhere, in thousands of homes across Spain, someone posts a rose. Another simply thinks of her. Another says a quiet prayer. Another hopes she rests well. All these invisible gestures rise into the air like threads of devotion, and though she never sees them, she feels their weight. The world thinks duty isolates her. But in these moments, she is not alone. Spain is awake beside her. This is where our story deepens. Because the letter, this imagined, invisible love letter, is not a letter of romance. It is a letter of gratitude. Gratitude for the girl who became a symbol of unity without ever asking to be one. Gratitude for the strength she shows even when no one sees her struggle. Gratitude for the calm she brings to a country that desperately needs reassurance. But the letter also carries something else. A warning, a whisper, a tension Spain never says out loud. Spain is afraid of losing her. People see the glamorous side of royalty, the gowns, the ceremonies, the jewels. But behind these lies a truth: the world demands too much from someone so young. And Spain, watching Leonor step deeper into her destiny, fears the sacrifices she will have to make. How much of her childhood is left? How much of her privacy? How much of her freedom? These questions echo in every household, in every café conversation, in every article. Yet Leonor continues forward, one step at a time, never showing fear, never losing grace. This is why the letter continues to grow. Because Spain knows she deserves more than pressure. She deserves admiration. She deserves support. She deserves a rose each morning. Now the story shifts. Spain begins to recount the key moments of 2025. Moments of celebration. Moments of worry. Moments when Leonor stood in the center of the world's attention. Her oath ceremonies. Her public addresses. Her training. Her first major diplomatic events. Her growing presence in European affairs. Her poise under scrutiny. Each moment built a new chapter in the letter. A chapter filled with pride but also a soft ache, the ache of watching someone so young carry so much. Spain wanted to tell her something. But how do you speak to a future queen without overwhelming her? How do you show love without crossing boundaries? How do you express gratitude without embarrassing her? So Spain chose the rose. Silent, beautiful, meaningful, a message without pressure, a message without expectation, a message she could accept, or ignore, without consequence. But the rose had one more secret meaning. It wasn't just admiration, it was protection. Spain saw how certain corners of the world criticized her. How the media watched her too closely. How political voices tried to pull her into their games. How rumors formed around her life. And each time, Spain responded in its own quiet way. Another rose. Another message of loyalty. Another reminder that she is not alone. Now, the story moves toward its emotional center, the imagined letter itself. Spain speaks. Leonor, you walk with centuries behind you and an entire future ahead. You carry the quiet fears of families, the loud hopes of crowds, and the dreams of a generation. You are both young and timeless, fragile and powerful. You are not the perfection they expect. You are better, because you are real. You may doubt yourself. You may feel unprepared. You may question why history chose you. But know this: Spain chose you too. Not because of your title. Not because of your lineage. But because of your heart. Spain has watched you grow. Spain has seen your courage. Spain has felt your sincerity. And that sincerity is why Spain offers you this rose each morning. A reminder that even future queens deserve gentleness. Even future queens deserve care. Even future queens deserve to be supported, not just admired. The letter continues. One day, Leonor will become queen. The crown will rest on her head, heavy with responsibility. The world will expect perfection, diplomacy, strength, vision. But Spain, the country speaking through this letter, expects something different. Spain expects humanity. Spain expects honesty. Spain expects the young woman who stood on a balcony at 16, nervous but brave, speaking from the heart. Spain doesn't want a perfect ruler. Spain wants a real one. And Leonor is real. Now the story intensifies. This imagined romance, the symbolic romance between a nation and its future queen, is not about affection. It is about connection, about the way a country can grow so spiritually attached to someone who represents its identity, its wounds, and its future. Every rose symbolizes that bond. Every rose says what Spain cannot say out loud. Every rose whispers, "You matter to us. You matter more than you know." The narrative widens, examining how history watches moments like these. Throughout European history, certain monarchs were loved long before they ruled. Loved for their aura, their presence, their potential. Spain believes Leonor may join this rare lineage. Not because she seeks it. Because she embodies it. Now imagine the final chapter of the letter. Spain speaks as dawn breaks, offering one last rose. Leonor, this rose is not a promise of perfection. It is a promise of presence. When the world feels heavy, look toward your people. When pressure grows, remember this letter. When doubt rises, know Spain is awake with you each morning. This rose reminds you that even though you will one day rule, you will never walk alone. The letter ends. But the ritual continues. And Spain continues to rise each morning, and offers another rose. Because this is more than admiration. More than symbolism. More than duty. This is Spain's way of saying, "We see you. We trust you. We are with you. Always." And that is the story of a rose each morning, the imagined romance not between two people, but between a nation and the young woman destined to guide its future. The rose remains. The letter remains. And Leonor, Spain's daughter, continues to walk forward, held by history, protected by hope, and loved each morning by the country she will one day lead.